No one in her family had ever gone to college. No one in her family ever traveled. No one in her family ever went beyond the limits of the town. But Jada had a different vision for herself. She wanted to go to college. She didn't know how she was going to do it. She knew there was something more for her. And so she studied and she worked hard and she applied for scholarships, financial aid. And she had this voice inside her head that always said, I don't know what it is, but I know there's something more for me. And so she was the first one in her family to graduate from college. She was the first one to get her master's degree. And she was the first one to set up a nonprofit for youth to help them learn how to move beyond the circumstances they found themselves in. After all that, her mom said to her, you didn't just do that for yourself. You didn't just change your life. You changed the life of all our future family members. See, self-faith, believing in yourself, creates a legacy. You just don't do it for yourself. It ripples out to the future. It's what having faith and hope can do. And so I share that story today because this is the first Sunday of Advent. Starts the fourth Sunday before Christmas, and it's a time of preparation. So we light our first Advent candle. And I love how Robert sang about shortest day. Because as the days get shorter this month in December, we start seeing more and more lights outside, right? We're all lighting the way for people. And even though the sun is not up, we're lighting it up. We're lighting up the life. We're showing people the way. And Advent is this time where we are preparing for Christmas. We're preparing for what's coming, for what's about to come. And in Unity, we don't so much talk about the birth of the baby Jesus, but what it represents to us. And it's not that we're birthing the Christ in us, because that Christ light is within each one of us always. We're birthing a new awareness of it. And that's what Christmas represents for us in Unity. When we talk about Christmas and preparing for Christmas, is preparing ourselves for a birth of a new awareness of who we are as spiritual beings, who we are as Christ beings. We have to get ready for that. And so we use this time of Advent to bring forth those attributes of Spirit, those qualities of Spirit, those capabilities to help us. And the first one is faith and hope, which we'll talk about today. And then there's peace and love and joy. And all of this is needed to allow ourselves to come into this place of knowing who we are, of remembering who we are on a deeper level. It's a beautiful time of year. And yet, it can be a time that's filled with despair and grief for a lot of people. And so we get to be a light for others. We get to bring this message of hope to others, if we choose. If we choose. And that's what Jada in this story was doing, was bringing not only hope for herself, but hope for future generations, which is what I think a lot of us want to do, want to make the world a better place. And so it takes faith. It takes hope. In the book of Hebrews, Paul says, now faith is the assurance of things hoped for, the conviction of things not seen. See, faith is in the now. Faith is our ability to trust, to believe. It's our ability to do that now. And now a lot of our beliefs were formed when we were young, in our youth. A lot of them are subconscious to us. We're unconscious of them. We're always using them, though, in the present. That's why it's so important to know what your beliefs are, what your core beliefs are, because they will determine how your life unfolds. And then hope is an expectation for future good. It's an expectation. And it's so easy sometimes to look at the world and say, I have no hope left for the world. But where are we putting our faith? Where are we putting our trust? Are we putting it in the world? Are we putting it what we're seeing out there? Are we putting it in what we know to be true about ourselves and what we know to be true about everyone else? That we are innately good. Even when we don't see it on the outside of other people, we're all innately good. And so we can be that light. We can remember who we are. We can have faith and trust in all the goodness and have hope for a brighter tomorrow and a better tomorrow. It says in the book of Mark, all things can be done for the one who believes. If you don't believe it's even possible, you're not going to manifest what you want in your life. You've got to have some belief that it's possible. And in the Matthew, according to your faith, let it be done to you. According to your faith. And there's many instances in the scriptures, in the Bibles, where Jesus says, your faith made you well. Your faith made you well, not him. Faith. Do you trust that? So a lot of times when we talk about faith and we hear people say, oh, I've heard people say, you have a lot more faith than I do. I'm like, no. We all have the same amount of faith. We all have the ability to believe. We all have the ability to trust. It's just, where are we putting it? What are you believing in? Where are you putting your trust? Where are you placing your trust? In Unity, we say the power of faith, the first of the 12 powers that we teach in Unity is faith. It's so important to know where your beliefs are. We have to know that for ourselves. And so we're always using every one of these 12 powers, and there's a lot more than 12, but Charles Fillmore came up with 12 to go with the 12 disciples. We use them all the time. We're always using these abilities. It's just, how are we using them? Are we using them to be the best version of ourselves? Are we using them to get revenge, to, whatever? There's so many ways we can use them, but we want to use them from the best part of ourselves. We want to have a life that matters. I think that's important to most of us. We want to matter. And when we have a life that matters, we leave a legacy, like Jada did. Leave a legacy for future generations. We need to come from a God consciousness. We live and move and have our being in God. So when we come from that place, we will make better choices. We will make better decisions for ourselves. We have an Advent book that is in our bookstore, and this is filled with sweet little stories about Advent, about the 4 Sundays of Advent. It goes through every day. If you're so inclined, it's in our bookstore. But I want to, again, plug this. This has been a great book. We've been using this all year. It's been our annual theme, Wake Up Grateful, and we've covered all the chapters in this book until today, the last chapter in this book. is about leaving a legacy. And Christy Nelson, who I've shared many times, she was on a journey. She had was diagnosed with a life-threatening stage 4 cancer when she was in her 30s. And she had to navigate that. And she talks about in this final chapter how sometimes she gave up hope, sometimes she didn't feel very hopeful about her future. But having a consciousness of gratefulness helped her see the extraordinary in the ordinary. It helped her not take anything for granted. It helped her realize that whatever was showing up in her life was hers to work on, and she knew that she just had to trust in life, that life brings us what we need, not necessarily what we want. It brings us what we need to work through. And so she says this, "My deepest wish is that we might all learn to more fully trust and appreciate the opportunities, moments, people, and gifts of our lives without needing to lose or nearly lose them, to know and show that they matter." Show that they matter, that everything in our lives matters, these opportunities matter, the people in our lives matter, we matter. And we want to leave a legacy. We want to carry it forward. Our best selves do anyway. So we want to come from that God consciousness. Instead of having a faith in a God out there, have a faith in the God in here. That God in you, that Spirit in you. She goes on to say this. Trust in life is a lesson that many of us may wrestle with in a variety of ways, but also one that delivers unparalleled opportunities. Trusting life is a powerful practice. It is a way of receiving life that allows us to harvest meaning and learning from whatever surfaces. Can you take that in and trust that life is just bringing you what you need? And then we get to decide what meaning we're giving it or not. We can also stay stuck and live the same kind of day over and over and over. It's our choice. We get to decide. There's a story in the book the Gospel according to John about a man who was crippled for 38 years. Many of you probably know this story. He was at the pool of Bethesda. And he could never make it to the healing waters when they bubbled up in time to heal. And nobody would help him. And so Jesus comes by one day and says to him, "Would you like to be well?" And what does he do? He doesn't answer the question. He starts giving excuses. He starts telling his story. Well, nobody will help me. Nobody will get me to the waters. I can't get there in time. Everybody's faster than me. You know, we all have a story. And we use it as why we don't live our dream, as an excuse. We use it for why things didn't go our way. Our story. Jesus doesn't even pay any attention to his story. He just says, "Rise, pick up your mat, and walk." Now, I love this story because the story is so meaningful when you look at it metaphysically. Do you want to be well? Do you want a good life? Stop telling your story from the past. Stop telling the story of why you didn't do this or didn't do that or who got in your way. Rise. Lift your consciousness. Start looking at things from a different perspective. Like Jesus always was, they always said he looked up. Don't look at the world and what's going on. Look above it. There's more than what we're seeing. Pick up your mat. Don't keep lying in that story. Don't keep lying in your limiting beliefs. Pick it up so you're not tempted to go back to that. It's not serving you anymore. Pick it up and walk. Move forward. Take a step. What's your guidance telling you? Believe in yourself. Believe in your ability. We each have so much potential, and we don't always see it. We often don't see it. Believe. Believe. And if things are taking a long time, I love how Eric Butterworth says, it's because it sometimes takes a long time for people to wake up. Sometimes it takes a long time for people to wake up. Doesn't mean you stop believing in yourself or stop trusting that you have the ability to live your dream. And whatever dream or desire is in your heart, there's already an answer for it. Or it wouldn't have been placed in your heart to begin with. Earlier in the beginning of November, Unity was having a vote at the annual business meeting of Unity Worldwide Ministries, and I've shared this, that they were going to have this vote. It's about bringing Unity into one organization. We had two arms of Unity, and November 5th was the business meeting, and over 1,000 people showed up for this business meeting. It was online, and 91% voted in favor to bring us together. Some people have been holding this vision for decades of having one unity. Our message, our teaching is one power, one presence, and now we have one organization. It's exciting to be a part of it, to know that we're evolving and we're moving forward. And I don't know how it will unfold, but I just envision greatness. I envision them being more of a support to us in the local ministries. And these people that were holding this vision, if you're holding a vision for decades, like that's a lot of trust. That's a lot of trust. They trusted that this was the right movement forward, and it just took some time for people to wake up to it. But they believed, and they knew it was possible, and they had hope for a better tomorrow. We'll see how it unfolds, but I'm super excited about this. Super excited. Christy Nelson says, look back to the time when you've placed your trust in life, as people in Unity did, when you have surrendered yourself to the flow of the river and let it carry you. It is very important that we build ourselves a reliable index of memories of how life has made itself known to us as trustworthy, even if our minds quarrel with the concept. You have a 100% survival rate to date. This is all worthy reinforcement for putting your trust in life. Putting your trust in life. This chapter is so beautifully written. And if you have the book, maybe you've read this chapter, but I've got the whole thing highlighted. I'm like, how do I pick quotes from this book? It's just so amazing. But I love how she talks about the flow of the river, because just a couple weeks ago, Lydia Folger, she was here first service, I think. I don't think she's here second service. Anyway, she sent me a video about some Native American teenagers who were doing the first descent down the Klamath River after 4 dams had been removed. Now, in 1918, one of the first dams was built, and they built more after that, and it closed up the river, so the river wasn't flowing from Oregon down to the Pacific Ocean. And it affected everyone that lived along the river. In 2024, the fourth dam came down. And these teenagers, Native American, indigenous people, teenagers from several different tribes, over 30 of them, ages 13 to 20, decided that they were going to descent the river on a kayak. And it took them about 30 days. And I was like, would I let my teenager do that? I don't know. But this was a rite of passage for them. They needed to celebrate that life was returning to their area, to their reservations. The river affected them. They couldn't go in it. The fish were dying. And now the salmon are running again, and the trout are running again. And life is flowing for them again. And it was a beautiful, only about a half-hour YouTube video of these teenagers kayaking. And then getting to the end and having this huge celebration with thousands of people who showed up, celebrating that life was flowing. This was a dream and a vision that the Native Americans held for decades, to allow the river to be open again, to allow it to flow. And it took some time. It took time for people to wake up to what was happening along the river. It's a beautiful example of trusting life. Trusting life and having hope for future generations. Having hope for a better world, for a better tomorrow. And that's what this Advent is all about. That we do this for ourselves. And as we do it for ourselves, we're doing it for everyone that is in our circles, everyone in our community. There was another short story that I was following this week. It's not following. It happened in 2008. And it was a woman named Heather Dorniden. Anybody heard of her? She's an indoor track runner for the University of Minnesota. I think she was 19 at the time. And it was the Big Ten championship. And she was running the 600-meter race. She was in the lead, 200 meters to go, and she tripped. And she went down hard. And everyone else, the other three that she was racing against, went beyond her and kept going. And something in her, she had enough belief in herself to get up. She had enough hope for her team. She didn't want to let her team down, to get up and start running. If you watch the video, there's a bunch of them on YouTube. She is like booking it. She passes the person who's in third, the girl that's in third place. And then she rounds the corner and she's coming up and she passes the person in second place. And just as she's getting to the finish line, she pushes ahead and she wins. They call it one of the greatest moments in sports history. Because who would have thought, most of us, when we fall down, we would say, that's it. That's it, I'm out of the race. But not her, not Heather. She got herself up and she ran. She ran as fast as she could and she won. I mean, that's having belief in yourself. That's having a trust in your ability. That's having a faith in who you are and what you're capable of. So where are your beliefs? What do you trust in? Where do you put your trust? What is your life showing you? Will tell you where your core beliefs are. And are they working for you? And if not, replace them, release them, or let it go, let it go, let it go. You are so worth it to live the life you dream of, to live the best version of you, to create a legacy and hope for tomorrow, for the future generations, for your kids and your grandkids. We all want that for them. It starts now. It starts in the present moment with faith, with hope. And each one of you have that in your heart. So this week, look at it. Look at your life. Look at your beliefs. And see where are you creating a legacy? What do you want to be remembered by? That's your assignment if you choose to accept it. So, namaste. Peace be with you.